Hey guys, well, for those of you who follow me on social media would see for the last few weeks, all I've been doing is posting up these adjustable benches that I've been building and making. Our family business is sheet metal factory. We supply all plumbers, hardware stores with all their rainwater goods, sheet metal products. So gym equipment really isn't something that we do. We've never done it before, but we do have machinery and tooling and things that can be used for me to make gym equipment. With this whole coronavirus thing and with everything being closed and locked down and gyms shut, I was getting a lot of messages from people asking if there was, any gym equipment that I could make. And it was kind of just sparked that idea from there. I thought that, what would be the most important piece of a home gym? So the two things that came to mind was an adjustable bench and some kind of cage or squat rack, power cage. Which I never even got up to that. Once I started the adjustable bench, I wasn't expecting it to go as crazy as it did. I literally thought that maybe there'd be, maybe 5 orders and they'd just be friends to help out. But we've been doing it for probably 3.5 weeks and we're almost at our 75th bench. So it just went absolutely crazy. So I'm so grateful for everybody that's helped support me, because from the beginning to where they are now, the benches have come such a long way. I was hand painting everything at the start and just every single little thing was by hand. And once I started getting a whole heap of orders, then I had to start trying to speed up the process a little bit more. So now there's certain things that I'm outsourcing just locally, everything is local. There's nothing imported, or I don't send anything out, overseas to get done. Everything is still made either here in our factory, or it's locally, literally in this same factory estate that we're in. So to get the bench to this final product, of course, it starts with the delivery of our steel. So all of my steel gets delivered. I've got tubing, I've got flat bar, and they're all different sizes. So they all just come in like 8-meter lengths. So when we get all of the blue steel, we have to first set up all of the backstops on the saws, and then we cut all of the pieces that we need. So we'll start on, just the front leg here. We'll just cut, 10 of those. The back, 10 of those. So we just keep on, we just set it up. Once we cut 10, change to the next size, what have you, until we've cut all of the one size of tubing, then we change to the next size of tubing. So this would be 50 by 50 tubing, the base, then there's 40 by 40 for here, and then there's 35 by 35. So everything has its own, length. So that's without drilling anything yet. All we're doing is just cutting all of the parts and pieces to everything that we need. Then what happens is it'll go to, first we deburr or get off any sharp edges that the saw's left. So we kind of just grind around and clean all of the tubing. And then we put it into the welding area. So we've set up a whole area where Will, who is my sheet metal worker and welder, he's got everything set up in jigs now. So we don't have to, sit there and mark and measure every single bench. It's all got jigs on the table. So he drops in each piece and then he can start tack welding together all the different parts. So you can see there's all different parts here that all have to be jigged and tack welded together. So once it's tack welded, then he has to make sure everything's straight, everything's square. If he has to move things and tap things around, he can before he fully welds it. Because once he's fully welded it, it's pretty much locked in position. So there's a lot of time with working with the jigs and just getting everything so that it was spot on, straight and accurate. Because, it's only got to be out by a millimeter here or there, and the bench wasn't sitting flat. So there was a lot of headaches and a lot of work that went into these benches. I thought that they were going to be pretty simple, but once we started putting them together, that's when I realized that there was just so much, so many processes and little things that go into getting this to where it is. It looks easy enough looking at it, but let me tell you, there's a shitload of work that goes into it. So once he's got that all tacked up, then he can start fully welding each piece. So if he's happy with it, he's put square on it, it's all straight, all looks good, then he'll go ahead and fully weld everything that's there. Now that section there, all of those pieces, they pretty much just go onto another table, and then I'll go over all of them and clean them with the grinder. So I'll clean up all of the welds, make sure there's no slag or anything that's jumped off while he was welding onto the job. So I just make sure that everything is nice and clean. I'll run my hands over it, make sure there's nothing sharp, nothing really sticking out, because they're the bits that just go straight to the powder coater, all these big bits. So I just tape them all up in bunches of 10. So I have 10 of that, 10 of that, 10 of that, whatever. So when I go to the powder coater, I've just got 10 sets to go. So then comes the drilling. Now, the drilling is probably the most time-consuming part of making these benches, because every single hole is all hand drilled. We've got a drill press. Now, I do get these laser cut now, all this black steel plate, 8 millimeters thick. But before we were just cutting them, so they didn't have round edges. We just cut the flat bar, and then I would have to, with the sander, I would have to hold them and radius the edges all by hand, every single one. So it was so time consuming to do that. So once we've drilled the holes, we've got like a 10 mil hole here for all these 10 mil bolts that go through. So I'll sit there and drill each of the holes on the black steel, and then radius on the sander. And then those bits are pretty much, they're good to go. So I'll give them to Will before he starts tacking and welding everything together. So they all get tacked and welded in position as well, all of those bars. Now the front bars, these ones, the silver tube that you see, again, those holes are crucial. Everything has to be spot on. It's got to be in the center. And that sounds easy enough, but you can have just little things happen where we've had, a jig that's moved a millimeter or so here, and the bench just doesn't move, how it's supposed to move. So we have to drill every single one of these holes. So for the adjustment, they've all got a hole every 40 millimeters. So on the front, every 40 millimeters, and on the back, every 40 millimeters, there's a hole. So once all of those holes are all drilled, we've pretty much got all of our bits then. So I'll send all of that stuff off to the powder coater. So all the metal stuff all goes off to get powder coated. It usually takes a couple of days to get that back. But while I'm waiting on that, then I'll start on the timber for the upholstery. So every single bench is all cut by hand. So I have the straight saw. I'll get my big lengths of like 1500 wide by 3 meter MDF timber, 18 millimeters thick. And I'll have the stencils of the seat and the stencils of the back. So I trace them all over, make it fit, so I can get as many out of a sheet as I possibly can. And then with a straight saw, I cut all my straight lines. And then with the jigsaw, I'll go around and I'll cut out, all the round corners, top of the bench, the seat and everything. But again, that just goes to show you how much labor actually goes into making these. Like that takes me like half the day to do 20 benches, just cutting out all of the timber. And then once that's done, once it's jigsawed, then we have to round off one of the edges too, because when the guy puts the upholstery on, you can't have really sharp edges cutting into the upholstery. So you really want to be able to radius the corners and make it a nice smooth edge. So we run the router around every single one as well. I sand off on the sander, on the belt sander, any kind of sharp edges or grooves or anything that needs to be cleaned up as well. And then once I'm happy with them, I'll drop them off as well. I'll go for a drive and I drop them off to the upholsterer. Normally I drop off 20 at a time, and he's actually really good. He's really fast. He's probably 2 days later, I'll have them done. So by the time I pick up the powder coating, then I get to pick up the upholstery. I'll have everything here, all of my parts. So I normally get the truck. We go down to the powder coaters. He's got a forklift there, and he just forklifts on all of the powder coated parts for the benches. So bring it back here. I've got pallets just full of bits and pieces, which is probably my favorite part of the whole process, because then I'm able to just start putting everything together. So a lot of it's all bolted up. So I've changed it. It was all welded, but it's hard when you're welding. You're putting a lot of heat into metal. Things start to twist and distort. So we went to a bolted pattern, which is super strong, and it looks a lot better. I like the look of this with all of the bolts here. I think it looks very industrial, and I haven't really seen many benches like that. So I was happy that we came up with that. So I'll start bolting everything together. Everything just fits together like a little bit of a jigsaw puzzle. And then once I make sure like all the bolts and everything's good, then I put the upholstery on, and then I'll put on all the little bits. So, all the spring-loaded bits here. Underneath the benches, they've got all adjustable feet. So they're screwed into the bottom so that people, once they put them on their floors, if their floors are uneven or unlevel, they can just adjust the feet and it takes up any of the movement on there. But even these plates here, all of those, they're all laser cut as well. So you'll see we put them on our plasma cutter actually. So no, sorry, they're plasma cutted. These are laser cut, these are plasma. So we've got the plasma here in-house. So we cut out the plates, we cut out all of the holes, and it just makes it, you know, so much easier to have. We're lucky, very lucky that we've got that machinery here to be able to do all of that. And then the last step of putting it all together is just putting the upholstery on, which just I enjoy doing that. It's the final stage, just lining it all up, putting the screws in. I've put plenty of support underneath all of the timbers. There's plates, you know, all along the seats and all up the back as well, just for extra support. So I can honestly say I'm very proud of what we've been able to produce. It's come a long way since the first bench that we originally made. So I was painting them by hand. We originally weren't going to powder coat them. We weren't going to do a lot of things to them. We weren't going to put anything under the feet. But, you know, I've got my name. I want to put my name on these, and I wanted to be able to, you know, put my name to something that I'm happy with. You know, I didn't want to put something out there that was just crap, and then people start talking shit about me or the benches or what I'm doing. So I really wanted to put the effort into it, make sure that if there was any issues, if I got any negative feedback from people, that I just straight away, you know, fixed it up and just improved the bench. And we've kept on improving it to where we are now. And I think that if there's anyone that can't have a good workout on this bench, come and see me and tell me why. Because I've been training on this, I've had it up at the gym, and it is better than the bench that I've been training on the last 10 years. This is better than that. So really, really happy for all the support that I've got from you guys. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, Massive Joe's. Stay up to date with all of the cool videos that the guys are putting up. And I want to keep building my benches, and I'll see you guys in the next video.
Thank you for tuning in to this video. We hope you enjoyed watching. Don't forget to check out our latest upload and our recommended video, and be sure to subscribe to the Massive Joe's YouTube channel to stay up to date with all of our latest uploads.